I start this review with an apology. I could be providing you a review of Panzer Dragoon for the Sega Saturn. We could be exploring the strange and beautiful scenery in that classic game, marveling at the tight, arcade-inspired gameplay, and listening to that incredible soundtrack. But we're not playing that Panzer Dragoon today. Oh no, we're playing this one. Panzer Dragoon for the Tiger R-Zone. If you've never heard of the R-Zone, again, I apologize. Your blissful ignorance ends today because I'm going to introduce you to one of the weirdest and most poorly conceived consoles ever. The R-Zone was created by Tiger, the portable LCD game company who also gave us the Gamecom. In its original iteration, the console consisted of a headband, a plastic reflective screen that hung a couple inches from your face, and a super weird and uncomfortable controller. I at least see where they were coming from. Projecting an image to a screen that only you can see sounds pretty cool and futuristic, but in practice, the R-Zone is heavy, uncomfortable, and barely works at all. Fortunately, Tiger released an improved version of the R-Zone that dispensed with the headband and compressed everything into a more familiar handheld-style console called the R-Zone XPG. It's this console that I'll be filming the review on. Now, even though this is an improvement over the original R-Zone, it's still tricky to see and even more so to film, so please understand I did the best I could. Now the game. As far as the gameplay, it's good? Of course, good is a relative term. This is not Panzer Dragoon for the Sega Saturn good, but I have to admit I went into this expecting a mess that doesn't even remotely emulate the source material, but considering the massive limitations this game was saddled with, it's surprisingly faithful. In this game you control a dragon. So far so good, right? And if you have any experience with the Saturn game, you know that in addition to controlling the dragon's flight, you're also shifting the camera in 4 directions, front, back, left, and right, so you can fire at enemies that can come at you from anywhere. Well, to my surprise, this game actually features that mechanic. Just like the Saturn game, there's a radar displayed in the corner, and you have to shift the camera until you're facing the enemy. At that point, you can move the reticle around the screen until you're over the enemy. You press fire, and the enemy is defeated. It's obviously very simplified, but I would never have expected the developers to implement a system like this on an LCD game. But the surprises just keep on coming. This game actually has boss battles. At the end of the first stage in Panzer Dragoon for the Saturn, you face an Imperial ship. Well, that same enemy appears at the end of stage 1 on the R-Zone. The battle itself is nothing like the Saturn game, of course. You're once again just moving the reticle around to destroy the boss, but I really didn't expect this level of dedication to the source material. At the end of each stage, the boss from the Saturn game would appear. Some of the bosses looked less similar than others, but again, I didn't expect any bosses at all. Very impressive. Now don't get me wrong here. I'm not advocating that you hop on eBay right now and buy an R-Zone and a copy of Panzer Dragoon. By no means is this a great game. The gameplay is beyond repetitive and the controls don't seem particularly responsive. Also, the sounds this game produces are a unique form of torture. But I'm honestly surprised by what's here. There's a level of ambition that you rarely see with these LCD games. I mean, hey, they obviously played the Saturn game before making this. That has to count for something, right? Thanks for watching my review of Panzer Dragoon for the Tiger R-Zone. Be sure to like and subscribe and look forward to reviews of more great R-Zone games in the future.